We are live from the pit. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and I'm sitting here with JR from the Frauds. How's it going today, man?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Doing really well. Doing really well. Just, trying to get my bearings straight. It's the beginning of the week as we're recording this. So just kind of coming out of that weekend haze.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
so you're based out of Perth, Australia. How are things going for you?
Yeah, really good. Had a bit of downtime for just over a year and started getting back into the swing of it now. And yeah, it's tracking along.
Sweet, sweet. What's the before we kind of jump into your band, the Frauds, and the birth, like how that came about? What's the scene like in Perth? I've not had too many musicians from Perth on anything we've ever done. It's usually like Sydney or in that like north southwest or
Yeah,
the way, yeah, there.
the big hubs. Yeah. Yeah, no, the Perth scene's great. It's super busy. Really hard to book gigs.
Hmm,
Which is both a pain, but it's also a testament to the industry that it's gone really strong. A lot of talent, just so much talent, and yeah, so the it's all booming here,
hmm.
really.
Gotcha. When you guys are kind of caught on you're kind of isolated on the other side of Australia, on the western side of Australia. Uh, because that was always kind of the interesting thing. The couple of people that I have met from Perth, whenever I talk about coming over to Australia to do live and amplified things, just to come, hang out or whatever, everybody keeps telling me to come to Perth, but it's like, man, I need to go to Sydney, and then that trip to Perth is that's like a whole nother excursion because
Yeah,
it's way on the other side of the country. So
not a short one. No,
yeah,
no, about 6 hour flight. I'd probably take you
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sydney to Perth.
yeah. But so are you born and raised in Perth, or is that 100% where you're from?
Yeah, yeah. Born and
Cool,
raised here.
cool. And so how does so you're in a band called The Frauds. How does that band kind of come about? What's this project all about?
Well, it actually started as a bit of a solo thing for me. Just writing a bit of music with the acoustic guitar and then I did my own single and I started to try and piece the band together to do a bit of a launch for it at the time back in 2020, just before COVID hit us. And Yeah, put a few people together and that gig got cancelled obviously because everything
Mm.
shut down. But um, yeah, a couple of those guys stayed on for a little while. One of them still with me today, which is great. And we've had a couple of new in and outs throughout the journey as well, and some seriously talented musicians. So I've been fortunate to play in this group with a lot of different people, and yeah, so that's how that started.
Awesome. So the Frauds is your project. What was the initial idea for it? Did you always want it to be this like power pop rock band, or what was the original thought?
Well, it's actually a collective now, but it
Mm,
kind of just started as me, and then as the other people came in, we
mm,
we really decided to go at it all together.
yeah,
Um, uh, yeah, I mean, like I said, it started on an acoustic guitar, so I didn't
yeah,
imagine it kind of uh, going to where it's gone, but I suppose it was pretty natural progression considering all the music I listened
yeah.
to go down that avenue. So yeah, and of course the people around me who bring their influences in as well. Yeah, really have made the sound what it is now, and made my writing kind of yeah more suited down that pop rock kind of sound.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And so obviously starting in 2020 opened up its own set of challenges, as we all know what happened in 2020 and into 2021. So throughout that, obviously you mentioned you had gigs canceled and stuff. Were you all still writing and recording, or was it not until about 2021 where you started venturing? How does the pandemic kind of affect the momentum for you as the
Well,
Frauds?
It's really funny because, well, it's not funny, but everywhere was shut down, but my state got really seriously lucky throughout the whole pandemic, where it wasn't really until March last year that COVID came in. We had a few isolated cases here and there and lockdowns and all the rest, but for most of the time it was business as usual. So 21, we did a serious amount of gigs. There was 1 month last year we did, or the year before, sorry, 2021, where we did something like 14 or 15 in within a month.
Oh wow.
And a lockdown came in and kind of saved me from the last one, right when my voice was completely fried from
Right.
all that singing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got really really lucky. So our momentum was never really stopped too much by COVID, which was
Nice.
fortunate.
Nice. So essentially that kind of isolation that Perth kind of has really helped it.
Yeah, probably saved. Well, yeah, probably saved the industry over here. For
Nice.
sure, for
Nice.
sure.
That's really interesting, lucky, like it's all these things, but for a musician to be able to kind of just keep going other than a couple of hiccups here and there is amazing.
Yeah, we got seriously lucky. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, so the Frauds went from a kind of a solo project for yourself into more of a collective, and now you're out here releasing singles and all this stuff. What's kind of the plan? What's the plan for like the rest of the year for the Frauds? Where do you kind of see yourself going with the band?
Yeah, so we've had a bit of a change up in the lineup in the last couple of months. So we brought a new guitar player in,
Yes.
Ella. She's great. So we're spending a bit of just spending a bit of time now, helping her out as getting up to speed with all the old music, because we've got a fair amount of tunes. So yeah, we're doing that for the next couple of months, as well as spending some time in the studio recording a brand new single, and re-recording an old one, that's been quite heavily requested that we put back out. So and then yeah, onwards from there.
Yes. When you say put it back out, was it something that was just out there unofficially, or what do you mean by put it back out?
It was released, but we weren't entirely happy with really how it came
Okay,
out.
fair.
So we've kind of had to reimagine it, and really we've done a pretty big rewrite of the song, to the point where we're fully happy with the song, and getting it back out, and for the people who want to hear it, and all the new people who hopefully hear it.
For sure, for sure. That's really like the fact that you released it, you weren't happy with it, so you took it down. And most musicians would just kind of scrap it at that point. Like it is what it is. But the fact that you weren't afraid to go in and kind of rework the song and like rework it and let it allowed it to mature, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it, that you know not everything has to be set in stone at
Yeah.
all. And I think that was an experience for us where it was our first studio experience.
Hmm.
The first song we chose to record, and obviously within the last 3 years or so, we've just learned so much, and we've had the opportunity to work with some seriously amazing sound guys that have just really, you know, opened our eyes to the whole process and what
Mm.
we can do. So, um, yeah, and also there's been a fairly big push from some well, friends and fans that really want the song back out there. So we thought, well, there's no point just scrapping it and leaving it in the dust. We might as
Yeah.
well get it back out there and let people enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And so, how often are y'all playing shows right now? Are you playing like as I know you said during the pandemic it was 15 shows a month or that you were hitting that, But how often are you guys kind of playing right now, or are you not playing because you kind of got the influx of new members?
Yeah, so yeah, it was on and off. That 1 month
Yeah.
was certainly an outlier.
Okay.
We were doing quite a few shows, probably at least two a month, maybe, which is quite a lot as an original band, I suppose. Now we're probably looking to back off a little bit. We've really only got two booked for the rest of the year, that haven't been announced yet, but will be shortly, I suppose.
Nice.
And and seems to be now a little bit, but um, yeah, we're certainly spending a lot more time, hopefully writing and recording, and putting the big gigs together that we really want to sink a lot of money into for each show, so that we can put on a spectacle, and really bring that high energy and kind of high octane performance that we really want to, and a show for everybody that comes to watch. So yeah, that's the
Awesome.
plan.
Awesome. Awesome. So, kind of taking a step back from the frauds, as yourself, the musician, who got you into music? Like, what was that initial introduction into music for you?
So yeah, all my family are are pretty much musicians. I grew up really closely with my uncles who were all heavily involved in the scene, and some seriously talented musicians. So I was fortunate and unfortunate, depending how you look at it, that I got really thrust into it with little choice, I suppose. But no, the yeah, it was a great experience growing up, and I certainly got a real true appreciation for the art, and of course all the greats that performed and played and wrote through their era, especially, and kind of early on in mine. But yeah, definitely would say that's that's the reason I play
Nice.
music for sure.
Nice. It's
Yeah,
it's funny because a lot of musicians say I was just thrust into it because my uncle, my father, my mother, my whoever was a musician or really heavy into music. And it's like, yeah, you got exposed to it early on, but if you weren't passionate about it, you wouldn't have stayed on as long as you have. Like if it was
very true.
because I've done things like that where it's like, well, this is easy for me, but I'm not passionate about it. And so I do it just because it's easy or the opportunities just keep coming and it's like but I'm not passionate about it and then I just kind of fall away from it
Yeah, yeah, that's very true as well.
so
Very true.
so so the frauds everything's moving along smoothly. You get the new project, you got some gigs coming up. Kind of going into 20, are you with these singles, would you hopefully release like a new or like an album or a fuller length project, or do you kind of see yourself staying in that singles realm?
Um, we haven't really had a opportunity to fully discuss it, but
Mm,
definitely thinking. I'm hoping that we will kind of early next year be able to start working on a EP.
mm,
And maybe do a release of a couple of the old tunes and a few ones that we're in the midst of writing at the moment.
sweet.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's interesting. The market heavily dictates that singles are the way to go, but
Mm,
I think you've got to forge your own way and make your own path, and there's plenty of music that we've written that I seriously just want to get out into the world. So if I have to do that all in one go, I'll definitely do that all in one go. But yeah,
yeah, for sure. And it like you brought up that the market dictates that like singles are kind of the way to go, but I think Spotify is kind of walking it back a little bit because I've seen some new features that Spotify is unleashing where you can like stack release music so you can release them as singles, but then at the end they come together as like a full album or
the
whatever.
album,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like that's cool. Like the fact that Spotify recognizes that, hey, yes, we're kind of fueling the fire for singles, but musicians still want to release albums, so there's got to be a way to kind of meet in the middle.
Yeah, that's right. And once upon a time, it was one of those things where the whole album told the story,
Yeah,
not just the singles. So,
yeah,
you know, definitely if they can do a bit to help with pushing the albums back, I mean that's amazing. But people will dictate at the end of the day what they want to listen to and how many songs they want to listen to, and the ability to press pause on a song and play a different one has really been that reason why the albums kind of haven't been too much of a thing. Whereas back in the day, you'd put a record on, you'd probably sit there and listen to the whole thing. Whereas chopping and changing now with everything as it is. But yeah, I mean, there's still a market for it for sure. And an album's certainly something that I would love to do in the future. Also, it's a lot of money for people to do a whole album. And sometimes it's just more affordable for bands to do the single thing. So that'll plays a role.
yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
100% agreed. Um, so if anybody wants to check out the Frauds, check out your music, check you guys out on social media, or catch a show if they're in the area, where's the best place to find y'all?
Definitely Instagram at the Frauds Band, or you can find us on Facebook as well, just the Frauds Band one.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know this was a bit of an effort to get this one in, but we got it, so we're
We
good.
got there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Thanks for
like
having me.
I was sitting here, I was like, as we were getting ready to do this, my internet started acting up again. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, is this podcast that cursed podcast? But luckily we made through it.
We got
And
there in the end. Yeah.
yeah, but we'll be right back after this musical break, kicking it off with